This is going to relieve a lot of people's worries, confusion. TikTok, someone's uncle's nutritionist said, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I thought this was healthy, blah, blah. Like, there's so many things out there that will confuse you. And again, grind you down to where you're not going to do anything about it. This is Nutrition 101, protein. Protein is the governing principle that should dictate all of your nutrition decisions. I'm going to tell you why. This word is the number one word that I say to people in the gym. There might be more important things, like of the program and like their mindset, right? Like there's more important things, but the number one word, because it's such a crux to everything else, the number one word I say is protein. I'll see someone that I used to train, like, you still get enough protein in? Or they'll look at me and go, yes, I'm getting shitloads in, shut up. And I'm like, good. One of my mentors, when we spoke about me building something like this out, this was the example that we used. And he said, what do you say to people about nutrition? And I said, protein. And he quizzed me on what most people would. Wouldn't you say calories first? I sort of went, no, protein's gonna come first, because if you don't fix that and you don't have that, like I was saying, the caveat for the other things, if that's not there, the rest is useless. So that's why this is the most important thing. Protein is the thing that builds and retains your muscle mass. Muscle protein synthesis, a big word, but it's just the process that is ongoing in your body. If you don't train and don't have any protein, this process will net lose muscle. If you consume a high amount of protein and send the signals, resistance training, to your muscles, when this is going on, net, you'll grow muscle. And it's why everything else is close to meaningless without it. Bonuses of protein. You burn more energy just consuming it. So when we are trying to be in something like a deficit and our in is that much and our out is that much, sweet, we're in a deficit, but just by having more protein, more food, this increases that TEF, the thermic effect of food. So you're in more of a deficit than you originally were. I'm going to say this because it's worth what I'm going to say, but it's not the full truth. Essentially, protein is free calories. You also make better decisions when you're searching for it. When you're going to make, protein first. Okay, I'm going to make a meal with chicken. You're probably going to put some vegetables with it. You're probably going to put some rice or potatoes. It's going to be a good hearty meal. You're going to make a good decision from searching for protein. If you weren't, it could be anything. So yes, you can think of it as free calories because it also satiates you more. So it makes you fuller. So all these things combined, it would be nearly impossible for someone to become overweight from eating too much protein. It's why carnivore is very popular these days, because all you're eating is literally just protein. It's also very hard for the body to turn it into fat. It's a good idea to consume protein. Yes, carnivore might be a good strategy for some people, but what I would say to people is yes, do carnivore with lots of vegetables and some carbs, maybe around training, and you'll have lots of success. Once we understand protein, once we start to sink that into our heads, we realize why it's the governing principle and why you should make it a pillar for the rest of your life. After all, once you get to 70, you quickly realize you're outrunning muscle loss, falling over, and life. It's much more urgent. You really get the concept of why. Yet gaining or retaining any smidge of muscle that you can is going to extend your life and make it higher quality. How much protein should I consume? What's the ideal amount? What is high protein? I used to watch the Today Show and shows like that a lot when I was younger, because that's what my mum would watch. And there'd always be a nutritionist that would come onto the show. She'd give general advice. We've all heard it, like eat the rainbow, variety, and they'd always say high protein. And I was like, what does that mean? What does high protein mean? So let's work it out for you so you know exactly how much is the ideal amount. The research says if you take your body weight and multiply it by anywhere between 1.6 and 3.2, you will get protein in grams to consume per day that will elicit the highest response from training. What I've found is 3.2 is very excessive. 1.6 is going to give us our lower threshold. So if we use my body weight, 78 right now. So if I do 78 times 1.6, it's 125 grams. So if I go below 125 grams, I know that I'm going into the not good threshold. But what I've found is, and what I've watched hours of videos and listened to the big dogs in the industry, and what is mostly used is 2.2 times your body weight. That will give you the ideal amount of protein to consume. If you consistently hit that, yes. If you're within a healthy body fat percentage, you can 100% use 2.2. But if you're someone that's very overweight or obese, if you use this number, it might conflate it a bit too far. So another thing to use might be the 1.6 number, or you can use your height in centimeters. That gives me a good number. My 2.2 number is 171 and my height is 183. Very similar numbers. It's not about hitting the direct number, it's about getting in this realm. That's the ideal realm. And if all else fails, a general rule for males is anywhere between 160 to 210 grams. You know, if you're a smaller to larger male, go somewhere in there. And for females, anywhere between 100 to 150. That's what I've found is the most common. So this should tell you a range that if you fall below, get one number, and then if you come up to, if you go below, not good. If you land in the range, good. But if you consistently stay at that ideal number, fantastic. The most results that you can get. How to know if you're achieving it? Number one, you could track out a whole day of eating using an app such as MyFitnessPal or any other one to see what total amount of protein. Take a normal day of eating, just like your normal breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fourth meal, and then see what that comes out to. Might come out to 90, and that's when you can go, okay, I need to up my protein portions, or I need to add another source in. You can continuously track. This is very accurate, a tedious but powerful skill, and this will give you everyday real-time feedback of your levels. The third one that you can use and is one of my favorites that I recommend to a lot of people is get 4 protein sources in per day. Because if you have a meal with a protein source in it, it will generally have about 30 grams of protein in it. Something like a big juicy steak will have like 45, or one egg has like 8 grams, but you usually have 2 or 3 eggs. Generally a meal, if you have, it'll have on average about 30 grams. So if you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that'll get you to 90 grams. So all you need to do is, and this is the easiest thing to do, is just add in a protein shake. That'll get you to 120 grams, which lands you in a very ideal realm for anyone. And if you're a larger human, you might generally have, 40, 40, 40, 40. So that works for larger males or smaller people. This shifts, but the whole thing is, if you don't search for the 4 protein sources per day, a lot of people don't get an extra shake, so they sit at 90, or something that they have for breakfast is cereal, no protein, so they're landing at 60, or they'll have a sandwich at lunch with a tiny bit of ham. So their protein levels for the day are horrendous. So think less about numbers and more about the number of protein meals that you get in. The rest will sort itself out. So that has led me into how to implement it. So number 1, you can use the 4 protein sources per day. Number 2, you can track a whole day out and make adjustments on what you would normally eat. Number 3, you can continually track calories, and I'll also link a video of how to track calories in this module. And then you'll get real-time feedback on how to adjust it, and simply just increase the portions of protein that you're already having. If you have 150 gram steak, have 210 grams. Put an extra egg in, or just add egg whites. Do 1.5 scoops of protein powder. Search for high protein meals, all these sorts of things. Plate building is another one. So here's 2 plates. This represents, the red represents the protein, the black represents the carbs, and then, these are fats, vegetables. This is regular people's plates. And when you find out, if you track calories, a nutritionist makes you a meal plan, a coach makes you a meal plan, you'll find out that if you apply what it says, you'll end up building a plate that looks like this, where the protein portion has increased, the carb has essentially halved, same amount of fats, and even more vegetables. Just by looking at the plate, you can change the portions and do that for all of your meals, therefore elevating everything. These are just a bunch of different methods doing the same thing. This I learned, and these red dots can be thought of as your palm. That's called a hand portion control system that I'll also link to. That's by Precision Nutrition. Because your hand differentiates on how large or big you are, so the portioning scales as well. You can read their chart and you can go to whatever goal you have, and then it'll tell you how many portions of hand, how many portions of fist, which is vegetables, how many palms, which is carbs, and then how many thumbs, which is fats. Education, way more powerful than TikTok videos. And the last one is you can keep a food diary. Take a photo of each of your meals in the day and then compare the week. Look at what you think that you could do, improve it. Do some of the plates need more vegetables? Is one of the meals completely lacking protein? If you just look at it, you'll go, oh, that's what it needs to do.